Didn't get that out. July the 31st. See, I didn't get it out. July, take two. July the 31st, 2023. I just want to welcome everybody to the call tonight. We've had a wonderful, wonderful, fantastic week. Those of you guys that were on the call last week, we had praise reports that were so overwhelming that I couldn't even finish the call. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. I mean, just taking it in and realizing and just trying for a minute to just put into perspective how hard and how much consideration goes into taking care of us. And you know, Yahweh does that. He listens to us. Not everybody, but he listens to the people that follow him. Those are the people that do what they're supposed to do. I'm not saying you have to earn your salvation, but what I am saying is you need to have evidence in your life that you serve him. You know, I mean, I'm just saying, I mean, if you're going to join the Hell's Angels, the first thing you need to probably get is one of those dumb biker jackets with a big target on the back so the cops know who you are, right? Yeah. So you can drive around and scare everybody. Ooh. And make sure that your evil is darker than everybody else's. Okay, well, that's the other side of the pendulum. That's not where we are. Where we are is we're on the servant side. And when people come against the strong tower, they get defeated. Last week, you guys might have saw it last week that I released the video or released a video on TikTok. And those of you guys that are interested in looking us up on TikTok, it is Heiko President. Check us out. We also have another page, and I can't think of what it is off the top of my head right now. Angela started it for us. And Angela, I just want to tell you thank you from the bottom of my heart. And it's about getting answers that matter. Heiko, look us up on TikTok. We're all over the place. And we're like fighting crime, like Batman and Robin. I just don't have a Robin, but it's okay because I don't need one. I'm not a pervert. So it's all good. See, I always knew something was going on with those two hiding in the cave like that. It just never looked right. Anyway, moving right along. So last week we had a wonderful call. We had lots of praise reports. We had proof of answered prayer. We had proof of Yahweh's intervention. And I also spoke and released that video about the car, you know, foreclosing on the bank. And what did they do? Something dishonorable, because that's what they do. You got to understand that a liar, you can't change his stripes. You can't change who these people are. They're always going to be liars. Anybody that asks you to be completely vulnerable to them without giving you something in exchange is trying to put you in a slave contract. Think about that. Think about it. Think about how many people right now are strapped with their mortgages right now. And their tax rates are going up so high. They're quadrupling in some places here in Texas right now. And people can't afford their houses. Their American dream has turned into an American set of, you know, slave collars, husband and wife, his and hers, just like closets now. You notice that people are downsizing dramatically. You know, we're seeing little tiny 1,000-square-foot houses here in San Antonio, like micro homes. They're not even mini homes. They're like micro homes. I mean, seriously, you could drive a truck through them and probably take them out completely. Seriously, they're like the smart car of all houses, you know, just little things. And those things are like $160,000. You can build a tough shed cheaper than that. And I'm telling you, these people, they're out to get all of your labor, out to get you. There's an enemy that's waiting for you every time you crack your eyes. The minute you crack your eyes and it's 3 a.m. and you're awake and you're looking around, I promise you there's an enemy in that room. There's an enemy outside. It's waiting for you. You know why? Because they ain't got nothing else better to do. They're stuck. They're stuck here. They can't leave. So they study us. And then they show up and they play games with people's emotions and feelings. An example of that is that we see all these soldiers coming home videos, right? And I mean, you know, but like the first year of them, it was like, oh, that's pretty cool, you know? And now I know it's just a game. Now I know they're just trying to get to your emotions. Somebody's trying to harvest your emotions, literally. Like a farmer going to the cow for a cup of milk. God. Don't you feel like that? Well, it's because that's how it is. And there's certain people that are restricted from this game that they call the American dream. There are certain people that we talked about in our credit class that get turned down for credit, even though they have perfect credit history. Who are those people? The 850 beacons, the 800 beacons. You know why they get turned down? Because your credit's too good, huh? No, that's not why. They get turned down because their credit is too good. And what reflects on a score of 800 to 850 is somebody that has mastered the credit game. And more than likely, they've mastered the contracting game too. Because if you've mastered the contracting game, then nobody is bleeding you dry every single month. They're the ones that are staying ahead of the game. They're the ones that are planting their fields ahead of the game because they're getting ready for the storm that's coming. And there is a storm that's coming. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just telling you there's a storm that's coming. And if you don't believe me, open your Bibles. You can find one in any cheap hotel in America. Open your Bibles. Open somebody else's Bible. And I'm telling you, there's a day that's coming, and we're all going to be tested. Has anybody noticed that there's a lot of people missing? Has anybody noticed that? What do you think? Everybody's at home with COVID still? I'm going to call crap on that. And I'm going to tell you, YouTube is probably going to flag me for this. But oh well. I'm not scared. There's a lot of people missing. There's a lot of dead people in this country that certain people don't want us to know about. There's a lot of trafficking going on in this country that a lot of people in this country don't want us to know about. Why don't they want us to know about it? Because we're the chattel. Because 8 million children are missing every single year. And even more go missing and get abducted through the CPS system. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some people that don't deserve to be parents. Yes, yes. I'm in all agreement with that. But when you turn it into a business, and it's a business to where people are, one hand is taking care of the other hand, now you're creating something. And this is happening all over America. I get calls every week from someone that's saying somebody got over on somebody. I'll give you an example. I had somebody that called me last week, scheduled an appointment with me, and I encourage you guys to do that if you guys have any problems. And I'm not telling you I have all the answers, but I'm a pastor, and I'll listen with you, and I'll pray with you. And if there's an answer to be got, I assure you, I am in touch with the one that will get those answers. I promise you that. And he knows everybody else too. So, and given the fact that the word says that he knows every hair that's on your head, I have lightened that load for Yahweh dramatically because I have no hair on my head. So therefore, there should be equal consideration in him handling all that other stuff for you guys. So let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of that. That was good. But let me give you an example. So what I had a lady that called me. She paid off her vehicle with a negotiable instrument, probably one of these jicky negotiable instruments out there floating around. But let me tell you something about, and I'm not telling everybody needs to go and do this, okay? Because this is not a good idea. This is not the honorable way to do things, okay? When you break a tacit agreement, when you break any kind of agreement without a reason, you just decide to just send something, you really bring a lot of dishonor on yourself, okay? And we can't be successful when you have dishonor. Sorry, I had a little my drink. When you have so much dishonor, you can't have dishonor in the things that you're doing. And if you don't believe me, go get a cup of soil and go mix it into your birthday cake batter and go make your next birthday cake. And you tell me how good it is. And then tell me how much do you think it would taste if it just had a little bit in there? It still tastes like, you know what I'm talking about, right? So it would still taste bad. And that's my point. We cannot, somebody has sold America a bill of lies. It says that if it looks good on the outside, it's okay. Yeshua had that same problem in his day when he was talking to the Pharisees. And he went to them and he says, you scribes, you thieves, You brood of vipers. You clean the outside of the cup, but you don't clean the inside of the cup. And the outside of the cup looks good. Your uniforms look good. They're nice and clean. But the inside of your cup is full of deception and dead man's bones. That's what he said to them. He rebuked them right there on the spot. And that's a Hebrew way of saying you're full of it. Yeah. And he's still doing it today. So anyway, this lady does this. I'm not happy with how she did this, but here's what happened. The bank in Dallas, Texas, by the way, decided that they were going to process. I know, right? I know everything goes wrong in Dallas. Those of you guys that were in my my debt class, you'll see that one of the lenders I picked on, he was in Dallas. He was in Carrollton too. And it seems to be the big snake pit over there, the brood of vipers. That's where they all end up. And they eat each other. I don't know, whatever. I was in the car business in Dallas for a lot of years, and I can tell you it's a very cannibalistic market. And those guys got a different kind of, just stay away from them. Anyway, moving around, just order your car online, do the one simple price and stay out of the wizardry and all that other stuff. Get your own financing. Don't just stay out of those dealerships. Anyway, so get back to the story. So she sends a negotiable instrument, and heck, it must have been a pretty darn good looking one. I haven't seen it yet, but it must have been a pretty good one because they issued a letter that said, hey, your vehicle's paid off. And then they sent her a title in the mail and said, ding, ding. Now, what do we call that? I just lost my eyebrows. That's what we call it. No, we call that equity. Because why? The people are acting as such. So whether the instrument was good, bad, ugly, proper, improper, doesn't matter. You could give somebody a rubber band, and if they accept it for value, your contract is closed. This is something that we talked about in the class. And I'm sorry for all the reverb. I'll try to fix this. All right, hopefully that's better. Ooh, look, I'm out of the cave. I'm not Alice in Chains anymore. Yay, I like it. Okay, right. Okay, cool. I was starting to feel like John Hagee up there, all spouting up on the thing with all this echo in the background. But anyway, so they send her a letter and they tell her, you know, all this stuff is done. Now, this was actually done by the borrower's granddaughter, which interceded it. Oh, that's what's up. She interceded and decided to do this for her mom, you know, because she's too chicken to do it for herself, probably. But you know, who knows? Who knows what the real reason was? Yahweh knows. But I mean, that doesn't matter. It's not for me to judge. But she came to me and she said, what can we do? Well, I said, first thing you need to do is tell me what else happened. So she said, yeah, okay, well, this is what happened. We went to court, or they decided to file a court case against her and bring her into court. 73-year-old woman, bring her into court over this nonsense. I know, right? I'm shaking my head too. Like, what? Now, one of the biggest issues with that is that there's no subject matter jurisdiction. There's no personal subject matter jurisdiction. In other words, this Dallas company has no rights to file a lien any kind of case in any state unless it has a perfected security agreement, unless it has and also a perfected security interest in property held in that state. Otherwise, it can't file nothing. That's the street version. But the reality is that's what they did. This is so improper. And tomorrow, I'm actually going to be traveling up to Tyler, and I'm going to be speaking at a commissioner's meeting up in Tyler. And this is where a bunch of judges are coming in, and we're going to be talking about this. I'm going to be talking about this very issue with them, because you guys just can't be taking cases and going after citizens when you don't have any personal subject matter jurisdiction. You just can't pluck people out like that. It breaches our civil rights. It's not okay. And as I said before, when you breach our civil rights, or you breach any rights that has been given to us by our Creator and just guaranteed by the Constitution, screw the Constitution. These were given to us, okay? The Constitution, sorry, I'm going to fix my screen here. The Constitution is merely just an agreement with, sorry, let me raise my chair. Somehow. Okay, that used to work on Tuesdays. Never mind. Okay, we'll try to get on Tuesday. So basically what happened in court is that they scared this woman. She handed over a title, and they created all this scary courtroom drama. Now, what do you call that? That's called witchcraft, everybody. Yeah, there was some jerk in a black suit up there playing around. We had a liar from the bar that was hired over here by the other liars to come into there and file a case in that courthouse where they had no business and no subject matter jurisdiction to even file anything. Why? Because they released their interest on the property. They didn't have the right to go back and go fix it. So she didn't really know what to do. So she called Tim Damron. And we reached out to our legal team, and it went really well. We were able to generate a motion to vacate and set aside under Georgia law, because in the contract, there's an arbitration agreement. Those of you guys that see my TikTok, I saw that each one of those blocks means something when you're dealing with a security agreement. So that's the difference between a security agreement and like a bill of sale or a drive out. A security agreement has a bunch of little anecdotes to it that has to all happen. So once, if you notice, when you look at your security agreement from like car lot or whatever, you'll notice there's a bunch of little squares and a bunch of little writing in there for everything. Well, those are like the United States of America. And as long as they all work together and everybody's doing everything, what do we have? Class, we have equity. Yes, we're learning what equity is. So we have the people acting as such, you see. So you have the boxes acting as such. So if the borrower breaks one of those boxes or pulls one of those boxes out of the mix and it's not flashing anymore, there's recourse in that contract to go back. But here's where there isn't recourse. In a security agreement where the lender releases its equity, true or not, doesn't matter, they lose their rights. And under Georgia state law, we were able to actually vacate that order, and she got her title back. And then we sued them for breach of contract. Or actually, it's filed right now. We're suing them for breach of contract right now, so they don't get her car. You know, it's really funny. I talked to, I just every now and then I like to call lawyers and just, shake their tree and just figure out what they're going to say, right? So I call this lawyer about, repossession. And here's the new thing that they're doing with repossessions now. When you call a lawyer for repossession, the first place they're going to want to take you is to bankruptcy court. Why? So they found a new way to discharge the debt, get the bank credited for it, because now they can file a 1099-C and cancel the debt, especially if you did like an old school Chapter 7 or something like that. I don't really know a lot what goes on in bankruptcy. I know there's consolidations and there's 7s, 11s, and 42s and and a bunch of all that other stuff that goes on. I know about that. But here's what I do know. I don't know everything, and that's why we don't give legal advice out here. But what I do know is that what the purpose of the bankruptcy courts are for, and that is to discharge debt when you're maxed out. Okay. And what happens is the judge actually goes in, creates an order, a cashable order that with an insurance instrument, they're able to cash that full face value, and they can cash out and pay everybody. This is what they're doing right now. So if you call a lawyer and you start talking to him about repossession, the first thing he's going to say is, well, we got to get you over to bankruptcy court and we got to fix it up. And we're going to file some paperwork. Don't worry about a thing. We're going to get your car back. And then you're going to have payments forever and ever and ever. Hallelujah. Yeah, that's what they're going to hallelujah to too. That's what they're going to do to you all day. So we have to be careful. Yeah, that's like the new thing now. It's really dumb. It's funny. My conversation with them was like, no. I don't want a one-trick pony and going to the bankruptcy court. That's stupid. I was looking for a real grown-up attorney. You guys got any of those in your office that actually do stuff besides that one-trick pony stuff? Oh, he got so mad, hung up. Sir, I want you to have Ooh. Well, I guess I wanted him to have a very good day too. So that was the end of that conversation. But that's the new thing now. So they're trying to do lots of different ways. This is why our tax laws are constantly changing, because these bungholes are running around, staying up all night doing amphetamines, probably, and thinking of ways to screw the public and just trying to outthink everything. Let me tell you, if you have, and I've never actually been around a bunch of tweakers before personally. I mean, I just hear people talking about them. But when we were in Houston County, Texas, and we took over the property out there, the 46 acres before all that happened, there was a lot of buildings that out there that were built by people that were in quote recovery. And I'm going to tell you what, by some of the over engineering I saw in those houses, those people were not in recovery. I assure you. I mean, there was just like, that's a really big, that's a ceiling I-beam, and you're using it for a dividing wall between the kitchen and the living room. I'm just like, whatever. Or you'll see joints that are just, they're all locked in like in a Rubik's Cube. And you're like, who did this? You can tell it took like all day for them to do this too. Anyway, and that's what we have. And we literally have people like that sit around and think about what to do to us. And this is, again, why the tax laws change. And then to the public, they tell everybody that the IRS is bad. They're doing this and they're doing that and they're doing this. When the reality is that they're doing this, they're doing that. And because the IRS can't really go after an entity, they go after the taxpayer instead. I mean, you can't go, I mean, what are you going to do? What's the IRS going to do? You're going to go get Walmart and drag them out of 100 million locations and put them in the street and go sit them down and let's talk about it? Or are you just going to go after the taxpayer that just bought the radio there? Easier to go after the taxpayer. So that's what they do. So one of the things that we were really talking about in this last class was how to position yourself. And the problem is that we sit as the taxpayer all the time. And taxpayer and target mean the same thing. I'm not talking about that gay Target stuff. I'm talking about like as in a target on your back. Okay. It's the same thing. So how do we fix this? Well, what did I say before? Well, the IRS can't go after Walmart, because they got a million locations everywhere, and we don't know which, he just exists on paper, and that's it. But Tim Damron, oh yeah, we know where he's at. Let's go to his house. Let's get him. And, and I mean, I bet you they got music and everything when they come to my house. I know they do. It feels like, because they're so excited and energized and everything. I don't know. Did I tell you guys about the repo truck that was at my house? Did I tell you guys about that last week? Sean, do you remember? Yes or no? I didn't tell you about that? Okay. Pause the story. We'll talk about UCC and trust in just a minute. I'm going to flip to that. Okay. I got to tell you, this is really funny. So those of you guys that do know me, you know that I did actually foreclose on my lender again. And because they misbehaved. And they do that a lot. And usually they just make you just sit over there and let your whole life go to hell and your credit go to hell and everything go bad and everything just bad, and then you just have to sit around at their mercy and wait for them to get their SHIT together, right? Mm-hmm. Or call the 1-800 I'm pissed off number. Press 3 if you're really mad. Press 4 if you want to like burn the place down. Press 5 if we can send a counselor to your house. I mean, the list goes on, what they do to us, okay? And the reality is that we have real recourse in our contracts, all of us. And we have real rights under contract law. Really, we do. And those rights are not delegated by them. And I'm also going to tell you that a repo order does not trump my rights to hold property. So here's what happened. I foreclosed on my bank, took the car from the bank. I have legal title to the car, clear title, the whole nine. And I've had it since March. But finally, we went through the process, and I was able to determine that pretty easily that these guys were not interested in servicing this loan. And when you start asking them questions that they don't want to answer, then they just clam up and take your money, and they don't give you credit for anything, and then they just dishonor the contract. Well, if they're going to do that, well, guess what? I'm holding the collateral, so I have rights too. So while you're not answering me, boom, 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 boom. What are we doing, class? We're contracting, aren't we? That's right. So if they want to sit there and shut up and don't want to answer me, that's cool. I'm going to send them a Christmas list. And I don't even believe in Christmas. I'm still sending them one. Why? Because as long as I can get their consent, I'm going to take it. That's exactly what they do to you when you get a ticket, when they want you in foreclosure court, when they want to take your dryer from Rent-A-Center. That's exactly what they do, or eject you from your apartment. That's what they do. This is the process. So we have that same recourse. Those of you guys that took the class, you also know that we talked about the Electronic Signatures Act. Yeah. And I also told you all the stuff that the realtors don't tell you about it. Like, you can withdraw it. Did you know that? Yeah, you can. Hold on. I'm going to try part 2. I'm trying to fix this chair one more time. Hot dog, it worked. My face is above the writing. Much better now. Anyway, now I don't have outreach across my face anymore. That's always good. I mean, I like it, but anyway. So what happened is that after I got to the point where we just foreclosed, and that's that. And as of May the 23rd, conversation was done. I had 4 or 5 phone calls with them on the phone. They hung up on me 4 of the 5 times. So that means they're not interested in servicing my loan. Well, where's your recourse? It's in my garage. And I took it. You know why? Because they let me. Because they gave me consent to. Because they admitted that they defaulted on the contract. Now, how did they admit that? What did you do? Did you go pick up their family and a white man and if you don't tell us this, we're going to shoot them all. Did I tell it? No, I didn't have to do any of that stuff. That's criminal. All you have to do is show them that they're criminal. You don't have to be as dirty as they are. But here's what happened. On the 26th of July, at about 10 a.m., a little repo truck pulled up to my house, hooked up to my 2019 Lincoln MKZ hybrid, and dragged it out of my driveway while it was in park. Did not come to my door, didn't go ding dong, hey, I'm here to take your stuff. I mean, and I'm not expecting him to, but a letter in the mail saying, hey, you better pay this or we're going to come get it, or some kind of notice like that would have been nice. And I realized they need their element of surprise, but here's the one thing that they really need. They need to have a perfected security interest. That's what cost that case in Georgia. Cost them everything, because they came in and they filed a case in a court where they did not have any liens on the property. So what did this lender do from Oregon? Called some, I'm sorry. Well, I'll tell you exactly who it was. Remember I was telling you guys about the firm mailing book? Here you go. So Stinger Certified Asset Recovery here in San Antonio, Texas, decided to show up to my house and try to take my car. And this little dude tried to leave my cul-de-sac, and I told him, you're not leaving. One of the things in Texas that they cannot do, you cannot pick up a car in this state unless you have a lien on it or a court order. But you can't get a court order if you don't have a lien on it, because you have no subject matter jurisdiction or any reason to file in this state. Oops. So it's kind of a two-edged sword, really. And and they knew that. So that's why they decided to, just break the law anyway and come steal my car. Well, they showed up. The cops showed up. And the cops actually called the city attorney. The sergeant there had the city attorney on the phone. The city attorney calls the bank and says, what the hell are you guys doing here? You guys don't have a security interest on this man's property and you're disturbing the peace. And that's another element that they can't do. The minute I showed him that I had clear title on the vehicle, he should have put it down. You know what he said? I'm going to take it anyway. I don't care what you say. That's called threats. That's called making threats. That's illegal too. Cannot do that. And that's illegal under the FDCPA. And that's chargeable $1,000 in case they're watching. And we'll be tagging them in tonight's call, by the way. Assholes. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that with my outside voice. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Anyway, so what happened was after that is I billed them. Yeah. Because what did I say? Always be contracting. Oh, I'm sorry. The cops had the bank on the phone. The bank couldn't figure out which end was who and who was supposed to get on the phone. Nobody would answer the cops any questions. They had, yeah, exactly. Nothing to say. It wasn't our fault. I'm sure it was. I'm sure, they played the victim and said it was all my fault. Well, he's just a bad guy. and you should just take it because he's a bad guy. You know, it was probably some Karen move or something. I don't know. But either way, it was illegal and violates the law here in Texas, and also further breaches the contract of whatever contract that they think that we might have together. It breached that too. So what did I do? I billed them. Oh, and what about the property? The property, oh, I transferred the car into my trust. See, so I don't even own the car anymore. That means any interest or any supposed interest that was there previously has now been removed, because there is no longer anything between me and the original transaction. I'm out of it. It belongs to my trust now. And you know what? The trust exists on a piece of paper, just like Walmart. Damn it. Yep. That smart guy. He must be a criminal. Nope, not a criminal at all. I just know how you guys steal property from us. And when you guys don't want to obey your contracts, you don't want to obey our agreements, you want to take advantage of these people here because you're already doing it anyway. People like me are going to come out and teach these people how to skin you alive and pull down your little pants in front of everybody at the pool and show. He has no pee-pee. You see? Very simple. So that's why we do this, you guys. That's why I've been doing this for 7-8 years now. And we have a wonderful, wonderful foundation. So let's got a few more minutes. Let's talk about the trust. We got a trust class coming up on the 5th and 6th. Michael took our class. We had a really great discussion today. It was cool. And I got to learn a lot about the Missouri Secretary of State today, actually, thanks to Michael, and how they do things. And I got to tell you, Missouri is pretty cool. They're pretty liberal on how they do things, and I actually really like the format. I actually really enjoyed it, and thanks to Michael, he was also in our conversation today. He was also able to save tonight's show, so I'm going to thank Michael. I really do. No, really, because like he's all like, dude, I can't hear you, and then I was like, oh crap, we got to change the other computer. So I did. And, you know, otherwise we would have been really messed up and I would have to cancel tonight's call. I didn't want to do that. So let's talk about this trust and UCC thing. So the class that I've got coming up, and it's coming up on the 5th and 6th of this month, to be safe. I believe so. Yes, it is going to be the 5th and 6th of this month. And it's going to be from 6 to 9 p.m. And what are we going to be talking about? I'm going to be talking about protecting you. What do we do every day? We're like a bunch of buckets that just bleed change every day, especially if you have children. And then by the time they turn into teenagers, you start bleeding dollar bills like a casino. Jeez. And my 14-year-old, no, she's not that bad, but I love her to pieces. But dang, sometimes I feel like the change machine, but nobody's putting any change in, or they're like slipping. It's what it feels like. And the older that they get and the more needs that they have, like when they need cars, they need insurance, they need financing, they need all these extra things, they need to go to college. What are we doing? We're out there killing ourselves even more and more and more to try to satisfy the needs that our kids have. And can I tell you that they're growing? You know, 15 years ago, $20,000 would last a minute. Today, You might 20 grand might give you a couple of months rent in some places. And this is no bueno. So what do? We've got to maximize our position. And what I teach in this class is how to operate on both sides of the board. We have a public side and we have a private side of everything. There is no exclusive, we're going to the private side. Like Gilligan running off to the island with everybody. That's just silly. And these people that are telling you that, they have no idea what they're talking about. Run from them. Because I guarantee you, here's the test. You probably don't know their name. I'm a 34 Angel Weed over here. You know, I'm Big Steppa. And all these other stupid names, these dumb street names that are out there. The people that have street names have street hustles. Okay? If you got somebody on, and I'm not telling you to judge people by how they look. I'm telling you to judge people on how they look. Okay. If some guy took the time to put himself together to show up on the internet to tell you how smart he is, look at his surroundings. Look around them. Does it look like this behind me? This is fake. So he might have something to hide, like my living room. Yeah. I mean, I want you to know that I'm shooting in my living room. It's like right here. But I'm telling you that because I'm just transparent. I'm good like that. But these other guys, they show up and they got jailhouse tattoos on them. They're they got all this gold and like they look like a little young Mr. T growing up. Have you seen those guys? These are con men. Okay? Stay away from them. They don't have any fruits. If they've got little Play-Doh names out there, exactly. If they've got Play-Doh names out there, you don't need to play Play-Doh. You need to play life. Real life. Okay? And this class is all about that. This class is all about keeping probate and keeping government out of your life. This is about keeping your stuff private, your property private. I heard somebody this week say that if your trust makes money, then your beneficiary is going to have to pay the taxes on that trust. That's not true. What a moron, right? Right? I'm just like, did you get that from your neighbor's crack or did that come from yours? Because I'm just thinking, because that is a crack. I'm sorry, that's a crock. Excuse me, it's a crock. It is. Because the trust is responsible for its own taxes. The trust maintains its own taxes. And if the trust is making income, that means if it's holding property that is increasing in value, it may have to pay some taxes. It may not have to pay some taxes. I know some people in Texas that aren't doing it. Why? How would this even be possible? Simple. Yeshua explained it very clearly when he talked to the rich man, and the rich man said, "What must I do, Master, to come to heaven? What must I do to follow you, to be with you, to be like you? I got to do this." He said, Yeshua looked at him and he says, "You need to sell everything you have and take up the rest of everything. Take up what you can and follow me." See, we're not supposed to be investing in this world for ourselves. That's selfish. I'm going to say that one more time. We should not invest in this world for simply ourselves. That is selfish. And to circumvent this selfishness that's gone on and greediness that's gone on and it is consuming our country right now. We have these things called wills, probate court. And what happens in probate court? You got a whole bunch of people looking for jobs. You got a whole bunch of people that the judge assigns to step in and handle your business. Because why, class? Because you can't. Because they didn't teach us. They didn't show us how common law worked. They showed us how to follow orders. And our generation, they just left us alone. They just let us figure it out. That's real. Thanks a lot, Mary and David Bowman. Didn't do a damn thing for this generation. And shame on you all. You'll all be judged for it. But for those of us that have received Yahweh's anointing, that means somebody woke you up. Somebody showed you there's a lot of people sleep here. Somebody showed you there's a different side of what you're doing. You're not sitting in the front counter like you thought you were. You're not in charge like all those people beating on their chests with their Texas flags. I'm in charge. I'm free. I'm this and this. And then somebody shows up and said, "All right, everybody, get your asses back in your house right now." They're, "Okay, man, we're going to go right now. Y'all have a good day." And off they go. Gone. That's patriotism on tap, everybody. And if that's you, you better educate yourself. You better get yourself some standing. Because there's going to come a time in everybody's life when your works are going to be tested. The first place they'll be tested is right here, usually in front of your kids, so you look like a bonehead if you screw up. Okay? That's the first place. And the second place is going to be before Yahweh himself. You hear that? That's real. And you know what? Both of them matter. Because here, You got people looking up to you, dads, and they're trying to figure this thing out. They're trying to figure out why they don't belong. They're trying to figure out why this world keeps rejecting them and rejecting this hunger inside of you that wants to know the truth and that wants to just stand up and speak the truth. Let's not hide under status quo anymore. Let's just be transparent. If that's you, that's the spirit of the Ruha HaKodesh activating in your life. Some of you Christians might call that the Holy Spirit. But Yeshua calls it the Ruha HaKodesh. And you better learn his language, especially if you want to talk to him. I had to learn to. Hey, it took me like 6 months to say that, by the way. Just to teach I was practicing in the mirror and everything, man. It just, that's a tough word. And there's more that are even harder. But you know what? Yahweh will not give you anything that you can't handle. And if he's giving you this knowledge right now, and he's waking you up, that means there's a purpose in your life. And you need to stand up. And you need to grab that purpose. And you need to run for that prize. And run to win. Run like the man that sold everything he had. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. I'm serious. And this is what I had to learn myself. So I learned that there is a public side and a private side. I learned about how vulnerable we are. And I sought Yahweh because this stuff scared me. And there was a lot of teachers out there that were scaring the crap out of people. Oh, you're all slaves. Yep, that's it. You're all slaves and you've been damned. Whoosh. And you're just never going to be free again unless you come and order my Stop the Pirates kit right here for $51.95. You'll have everything you need to fight Batman and Robin. So he says. But what's he doing? Stinking little words like sovereign citizen and things like that into your paperwork. So you'll be dumb enough to go file it somewhere and get your little butt put on a list somewhere like Kenny. Yeah. Kenny Plaster's in the wall of shame right now because he went and actually took my class, stole my paperwork, didn't pay attention to all the changes, left some really big stuff on there, and bought himself a little ticket to the watch list. And with his 17 arrests and his trip to the penitentiary, I think it was just fate. Yeah, 17 arrests, 1 trip to the penitentiary, and I mean good stuff too, like running from the cops, popping off VIN numbers off of cars. I mean, this dude's really got a past, man. He's and for somebody that's only 39 years old, that's wow. That's a busy guy. Anyway, but this class is designed. Let's get back to the class. So we got the class coming up, and this class is designed to protect you on 2 levels. The first level is it's going to put you in a first position, okay, in commerce, okay. And I'm not telling you need to go get a DBA in your name and this and that because that's silly and there's nothing private about that. So when people tell you to do stupid stuff like that, it's because they just want to keep you busy, not productive. Yeah, it's true. Stupid. Hang up on those people. Lose their phone number and stop giving them your money. They don't have, because when you need help, it's going to be like that Clint Eastwood movie with the whistling. There'd be nobody there. DBA. What DBA? Tear down barn. What's Diva? Oh, you can see something in my thing? What?
No, I thought that's what you said. DVA. People putting the DVA in their name. What?
No, the DBA. The doing business as. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you for letting me clear that up. Yeah, people are telling you to do DBAs. And putting them in your name and making your private name public. So everybody knows that you're registered to do business there. All that does is cloud the waters. Doesn't help you a bit. All it does is commingle your public and private. Because now you're personally responsible for that DBA now, aren't you? Where's your board of directors? See, told you, you're personally responsible now. So all you did was commingle your situation and make it worse. I got people that will say stupid stuff like, well, we need to go to court, Amy. We go to court and we need to fix our name. It needs, the uppercase name is a corporate entity. Yeah, we've all heard that stupid stuff. You're all drinking with that sovereign citizen moonshine. Oh, it's almost to the bottom, boys. You know, I'm telling you, these guys stay up late too, like 3, 4 in the morning on the phone for like 3 hours for like this much information. Oh, he said it. I've been waiting for 3 hours for him to say it, and he finally said it. It's just like, dude, just ask him. This is why I can't do those phone calls, because they get so long-winded. And personally, I think that they're just broken. I think these people are just really broken because they just like to talk. And I know people might say the same thing about me, but at least there's some fruits. So,
what's your thoughts on live life claims?
Who's that?
People who decide whatever they want to be called, kind of like self-naming themselves. And,
hold on 2 seconds. Sorry about that. That was somebody at my door. My dogs were like, could we go through the door and eat them, Dad? I'm like, no, don't start barking. It was just a package. Anyway, so what were you saying, Sean? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Live life claims. Have you ever heard of them or know what they're about?
What do they teach them? What are they talking about?
Just whatever you want to be called. If you want to make up a name for yourself, and it's just you're self-proclaiming that, hey, I want to be known as whatever you decide, and it's not really registering with the authorities or anything. It's just it's a live life claim. It's just whatever you want to be. You're establishing who you want to be.
I would really run from that kind of situation, because these people are trying to run from reality. They're just trying to say, hey, that's not us. And that's a level of narcissism, is what that is when people, and I'll tell you how you can always spot a narcissist. When somebody explains something to you and you see and you find that it's short of any kind of personal responsibility, like the part where it's their fault. You ever notice like your kids are, when they tell you a story and they're trying to protect something, and they always tell you everything else that's going on but the part that's their fault? That's narcissism. And adults do it too. They're just better at it. That's all. Because they had all that time when they were kids and they were left alone in front of Nickelodeon, and they learned how to do it there, or something. I don't know. But get under Yahweh's authority. Let Yahweh's word determine who and what you are. Because here's what happens when you step outside of that. When you step far, think of yourself like a sheep, okay? And you're on the thing here with Yahweh, okay? But maybe you might wander off just a little bit. Just like you got over the fence and you're just eating a little grass outside the fence. And that's probably a little dangerous, but pretty safe, because you could get back in undercover and you're good. Now you get somebody like Axl Rose that looks like somebody's grandma now. I'm thinking he had a sex change or something. Really, honestly, I'm thinking he was a she at this point, because if you've seen him lately, man, karaoke people are like kicking his butt down. You know what I mean? You could go to the karaoke bar and hear a better rendition of Guns N' Roses than actually hearing him do it. It's kind of sad, but it's true. And we have to let Yahweh's word determine us. And what I learned about all of this was that everybody always wants you to be under some kind of contract, under some kind of control. If you do something that somebody says you're not supposed to do, they want to put you under some kind of supervision. If they don't like your kids doing something that you don't need to be, you know what I mean? It's always something. And the best way to protect your children, the best way to protect your property from levy, is not to stand up and say, hey, my property is exempt from levy. No, that doesn't mean anything. Just because you said so, watch them. They'll foreclose on you tomorrow. They'll carry you out while you're still sitting on your couch. I've seen it happen with the people that say that. Okay. And the only people they're convincing is themselves. So when these people start talking, you need to ask them, what have you done? What has happened? How has your house been tested? Well, I don't really have any experience in this. Click. You should hang up. So this class that I have coming up, the first part we're going to be talking about how you appear in the commercial side. And we're going to take care of that legally, with honor, nothing dishonorable. The second part of that is we're going to create a trust with your SESQB trust. I know it's kind of an evil word to say, but we're creating a trust. And I'm going to show you how to securitize that trust. And then your seat at the table is going to change. You're not going to be the guy that's picking strawberries anymore. You hear me? You're going to be the guy that might pick a little strawberries, but for the most part, your main duties are to be sitting up at that corporate table and protecting that trust and asserting your rights under trust law, which are much, much, much stronger than you showing up as an individual. So by us doing that, it puts us in a position. Here's what's very interesting and very cool about a trust. A trust cannot be sued, and nor can it sue. Did you know that? So a trust is designed to hold property, like a holding company. And what we're doing is creating that holding company. So if you're ever incapacitated, if you're ever sick, if you're ever out of the country for a short term, long term, you don't come back, you get lost at the Bermuda Triangle, God forbid. But if that happens, you've got people in place to step in and to keep your machine running. And you've got beneficiaries that are there that are depending on you to do it. If you get snatched out today and you're not able to go back to work, what are your dependents going to do? You're going to call Aflac? You think that little duck, duck, goose is going to save you? You're wrong. You're going to save you. And whatever you can't do, Yeshua's already done the rest. He died for you so you could have this knowledge. He died for you so you could have a remission of sin. Guys, we got tough times coming in this country. We got inflation really rising, okay? Don't look at this like it's just, well, it's just really rising right now. No, it's really rising, and your eyebrows should be freaking out right now because this is a problem. We haven't seen increases like this since the 70s. That's a long time. I know, because I was born back then. That was like 50 years ago. And according to me, that means I'm old, like really old. Like, how is he even getting around without oxygen old, when I was 20 years ago? That's what I thought when I was 50. I was like, gosh, man, my daughter's 14. I'm going to be 51. Probably be in a wheelchair and crutches. That's what I thought 14 years ago. So stupid. And here we are today. So what also happens is if you were to get divorced, and God forbid that you do, your beneficiaries, there's no child support because you have a trust in place that's already providing for them. All you need to do is make some adjustments in your trust about your beneficiaries and your successor beneficiaries and keep on trucking. Taxes, tax benefits, lots of tax benefits, lots of them. You guys want to play the 1099 game? You want to do it effectively so you don't go to jail or get $5,000 little things in the mail? Telling you you're screwed now? $5,000. Oh. And it gets you. And you want those? No. We want to do things the right way. We want to do things with honor. Why? Because then Yahweh will be standing right there. And wherever you're short, and trust me, I'm 5'6", I'm always short. My hands too, short-handed, all the time, my whole life. Okay? Born that way. But when you have grace, and you have an Elohim like I do, and like that's available to each and every one of you out there as well, there ain't nothing you can't do. I've seen miracles happen. Miracles. I've seen people with their mouths torn up and healed the next day. And all we did was pray. I didn't even ask him to heal him. I just asked him to make everything okay. And I asked him to just let your will be done. But you know what? Yahweh had a different will that was far beyond my request. That's a beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing about having grace on your side. Back when I was a kid, in closing, Back when I was a kid, there was, I went to a lot of those drinking parties, a whole bunch of them. And my little 5'6" body would run up $100, $150 bar tab by myself 3-4 days a week. That's me drinking with my friends, just having a great time. Nowadays, that kind of drinking will kill you. My cousin 2 years ago drank himself to death. I don't know how, but I do know how, but I mean, he drank himself to death at age 34. I'm 51. And I guarantee you, I put more alcohol down than that guy did. So what was the difference? What was the difference between him and I? Am I a better person than him? Absolutely not. I'm obedient. I serve the God. I serve the Alpha, the Omega, the real deal. I know his names, and I speak his names, and I honor his days, and I honor his feast days. Why? Because that's evidence that we belong to him. Those of you guys that have kids out there, if you have good kids, I'm not sure you do. If somebody said your kid was running up and down here and cussing out all these ladies in here and pulling down their pants in front of everybody and putting his hands in places he shouldn't be doing, you'd be like, oh, absolutely not. I know I would. Why? Because my son doesn't act that way. And if he did, you got to be knowing that's somebody else's kid. That can't be my kid. I've known him for 20 years. He would never act that way. That's not him. So what does that tell you? The way that we act is the way that we are. And if your kids act like a bunch of buttholes, it's because their parents are buttholes. Yeah, they're just little ones, smaller ones. That's all, just running around, little buttholes everywhere. And it's true. So the moral of the story today is don't be a butthole. No, I'm kidding. No, the moral of the story is that we gotta find truth. And truth is found when you're sitting in the front seat, when you're running your life, not when we're out begging people to manage our car payments, to manage our driver's licenses, to manage our Zales account. See, we got too much of that going down in America. We got too many people that don't know how to do anything. And we're struggling as a country. Right now, I see our country, so just in general, the people here in this country are so ignorant. It's embarrassing. How many times have you guys seen those videos where people are at a college campus and they're asking them easy questions like, I'll give you $100 if you could just give me one verse out of the Bible. And they're there all day. That should tell you that there's something wrong. There's something wrong. Like that song. We better pay attention. We better look around. What's that?
I said, and they're a Bible college.
I know, right? Yeah, I know. You got those. No, they go to the Bible colleges and ask them about First Amendment rights and things like that. And they're like, I don't really know. We're just going to go back and pray on it. And we'll talk later, maybe Tuesday at Bible study. Brainwashed. We got broken people. And because our people are so broken, our homes are breaking too. We have no foundations. We got people living in tents. We got people living in total poverty because they've been handing over their lives for so long for somebody else to control. They've lost their ability to control their own lives now. And they're living on the streets. This is happening in America. And they're dying. All the homeless people that were here in Austin disappeared. Gone. I've been down there trying to find them. I mean, they're still down there, but they're not sleeping on the freeways like they were, and they're not stacked on top of each other all over the place. They're thinning them out.
Hey,
They're doing something. Go ahead.
You should see what the governor of Alaska is doing over this winter season. He is buying every homeless person a ticket to Los Angeles. I swear, I seen it today. Yes. Instead, they don't have the money to house them. They have nowhere to put them. So instead of dealing with them, they're going to buy them a $258 one-way ticket to Los Angeles.
Da-da-da. It's Highway to California. Well, they'll be coming out with some new music based on that one, I'm sure. But this is the problem that we're having. And, you know, they're probably moving all those people there to try to cover up for the people that are not there anymore. Let's just say that. You know, for the ones that have passed away, unfortunately, due to unpopular conditions and things that are unknown to the general public. But I got to tell you, this trust class, you want to keep your kids away from CPS? I'm going to show you how to do it. You want to put yourself in first position so people aren't knocking on your doors? This country's under attack. We got people. I don't believe there's anybody in Washington, D.C. doing anything. I'm seeing how slow and dilapidated things are in this country right now. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that we found cocaine in our White House. That's not even a good joke. It's not. It makes me want to cry inside. It really does. That's not the country. That's not why I put my hand on my heart and said Pledge of Allegiance. That's not why I did that. That's not why I did it in school. And it's not why I did it the last time I did it. And the next time somebody asks me to do it, I don't know if I am. I don't know if I want to pledge my allegiance to this kind of heresy, to this abuse and usury that we have in this country, and this abuse of power and knowledge that's held over the people. Yahweh is the giver of knowledge. Demons. I'm just going to put all of y'all in notice on that. Yahweh is the giver of knowledge. And you can try to hold it back from us all you want to. But the dude I serve, he knows everything. So whatever I need to know, whatever Michael needs to know, whatever Amy needs to know, whatever Sean needs to know, there's an answer. And we know how to call upon his name. And that's exactly what we do. If you guys want to know more about what we're doing in this class, check out the website. Go to our website. It's houseofyah.communityoutreach.com. Schedule an appointment with me. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the class. I want to make sure that those of you guys that join the class, that you know everything that what we're doing. And we'll go into more detailed questions, and I can be a little bit more open than what I am here on the call. Schedule an appointment with me. I'd love to meet you. We have a fantastic team of people, and we are very dedicated to helping all of our members. We don't, if something happens in your life, if there's as small as even a traffic ticket, we want to be there to, number one, pray with you. And number two, we'll seek Yahweh, and we're going to find what we need to do to fix your problem. Because there's no problem too big. And I'm 51 years old, and I've solved a lot of problems in my old age. And you know what? I think I can solve a few more too. So I invite you guys, check us out. And thank you for being on the call tonight, everyone. I want to thank you guys for the input. And Sean, you're amazing, by the way. Thank you, man, for being here. Did you have something you want to say? I noticed you.
Are you still coming in Dallas the 16th, or?
Actually, I am probably going to come down. I'm coming down tomorrow. I'm going to be in Tyler tomorrow. There is a governor's meeting. There is a hold on.
Judges?
It's a commissioner's court meeting in Tyler, and there's a bunch of judges that are coming in from all over the state that are going to be there, and we as the public are allowed to address them, and our guys out there will be addressing them, but I'm also going to address them as well, put them on notice, and let them know we're waking up.
They're going to be recorded?
I hope so.
I hope so.
I'm going to try to. I mean, I haven't made reservations for the camera crew to be there yet, but we'll figure out some kind of way. I always got these little glasses too. They record too. So we'll think of something, and we don't want to tell all of our secrets here today, but okay.
I just won't see it later.
Well, it's probably going to be on TikTok. So, check us out on TikTok, and, we will definitely get those out to you guys. And, the big thing is we just want to we don't want to be jerks, and we don't want to be disruptive. That's not the goal. The goal is to put these people on notice that we're waking up, and we know that they're a bunch of liars. And every time they come up and they show their true colors, they're gone. And this is going to stop. in this state of Texas. Because if it doesn't stop, we're going to have some problems. We're going to have some major problems. You know, last month, and I'm sorry, we're going over a little bit, but last month we had in June, we had 24 prisoners that died in state prisons. 24 prisoners in June. And you're talking about boys in their 20s. These are young men. So imagine if they stuck my old ass out there, I'd be dead by now. Because they're literally cooking these people alive out there in this free country of ours. When they're taxing these people and they're getting 45, I'm going to talk about this in the class, the upcoming class, but they're getting $4,500 a month for every one of those inmates that's there. And you're going to tell me we can't put some air conditioning in there? Let me tell you what, for $4,500 a month, just living on my own, I could have a place to stay and I could eat at Sizzler or some steakhouse at least 3 nights a week at $4,500 a month just for myself. So when you see that they're also including medical care into all this $4,500 a month budget, you can see that there's a lot of people getting rich on the slavery market that's going on in Texas. And we're going to speak out against that. I think these people need to pay their dues. They need to pay they need to pay if they've done something to hurt somebody and there's true corpus electi and there's a reason to lock them up, then they need to pay their restitution. They need to pay their debt to society. But once it's paid, it's paid. And people need to understand that too. So I'm hoping that we can cover some of those topics gracefully, and I'm praying that Yahweh will be with us tomorrow. So I'll shoot you a message, Sean, when we get up there, and I'll just let you know what's up, because I know Tyler's not too far from you. It's a short drive, so and we'll probably end up staying overnight, so we'll go from there. Anyway, guys, be super blessed, everybody. I'll let you guys go for the night. Thanks for showing up, everybody. Yahweh loves you guys, and remember, I do too. Be super, super blessed. Keep us all in prayer, everybody. Good night.